Hi, welcome to Terry Talks Movies. This time around, I've got a whole bunch of new things that Umbrella Entertainment have sent me. Really interesting stuff. There's an Australian horror film that I knew very little about. There's a really weird new release, which is hilariously funny. There's a very transgressive take on an old childhood favourite. And there is a blast from the past from the 1990s, which has been given a special bit of a twist by Umbrella. Now, I'll start with the blast from the past from 1990, directed by Steve Barron. This one was a cultural phenomenon. The toys for this particular franchise, every time I go to a thrift store or a flea market or a car boot sale, they're all over the place because there's a resurgence in the nostalgia for this 33-year-old franchise. It's the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Umbrella have put out a limited release of this, which is all region, and it's a numbered release. I've got 1425 out of 1750. Smell-o-vision's a really old concept. It dates back to at least, I think, the 70s or 80s when John Waters did it for one of his movies. But in Smell-o-vision, you get a numbered scratch and sniff card. And at the right time in the movie, when a number comes up, you scratch and sniff the particular numbered circle there, and you get a smell related to that particular scene. The 9 different smells are sweet sewer home, because the Ninja Turtles, of course, live in a sewer. Radioactive ooze, love salve, saucy special cool menthol, served with camphor heat, a margarita pizza, hippie delight, Splinter's Magic, which is wood fired with assortment of smoked treats and charred whiskers, Incensed Rat, Foot Clan Dojo, and Death by Trash. And it's got all on the back, all of the details about these scratch and sniff cards. Now, I've only ever had one other scratch and sniff thing in my life, and it was a Hustler centerfold, so enough said about that. By the way, the Hustler centerfold smelled of lilacs. You get a J card with all of the details on the back because the slipcover is that with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle things and the iconic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out of a sewer in New York City thing. There's the inside cover, which is very similar to the first one. And there is the back. Now, there are some extras here. Behind this shows the making of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and a theatrical trailer. And you also get, inside the case, a reversible poster. So if you're in the mood for 90s nostalgia, and a lot of people are, for me, not so much, but a lot of people are, you can have a look at this. That's the one version of it, and there's the non-Stinker-Vision version of it. So if you want to do a 90s themed man cave or something like that, you could do worse than putting up a Ninja Turtles poster. But I'm going to enjoy that one because I haven't seen the movie in a very long time, and I'm very sure I saw it first on VHS. Now, I read the comics before I ever took a look at the TV series or the movies, and Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created something that has kind of lasted. It's got its own cultural footprint to this very day. When you talk about Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael, people aren't thinking Renaissance painters. They're thinking heroes in a half shell. So yeah, this one's kind of cool. I like it. It's a nice package. The Smell-o-vision thing is a beautiful value added on this. It's not something you're going to get in a lot of movies. You're never going to see a Saw movie with scratch and sniff in it. You're never going to see a Brandon Cronenberg movie with a scratch and sniff addition to it. But this one, very cool. And this is one of the things Umbrella's doing really well. They're packaging things in an interesting way so that you get the movie and enjoy the experience of the movie. But you get a lot more. And yeah, there's a slight premium to pay for that. But on the other hand, they're unique. Nobody else is doing stuff quite like this. And I like the fact that they brought back the Ninja Turtles just for that. The next one's quite unusual. An Australian found footage movie from 2011, which had the best crowdsourcing campaign to get it made that I've ever heard of. It was a thing called the $136K project. The way they got the funding for the movie was people paid $1 to fund one frame of the film. And they needed 136,000 frames to make the movie. And so they sold the movie off in crowdfunding at 1 frame per dollar. And they made their money and they made the movie. And that's kind of cool. I think it's imaginative to do that. I think it's very clever and entrepreneurial to do that. And so this movie The Tunnel was funded that way. As I said, it's a found footage. It's an Australian found footage movie. The basic premise is, after some kerfuffles with state governments withdrawing a project to fill the tunnels underneath Sydney with water during a drought, TV journalist team go down into the tunnels to find out exactly what's happening. And what's happening is not something that they want to talk about. Found footage is a genre that can be done very well, or it can be done very, very poorly. And this one does it pretty well. And the other thing about it that's interesting too from the distribution viewpoint is the movie was distributed legally on BitTorrent. That was part of the deal with the original funding, is that the movie would be distributed for free on BitTorrent and people downloaded it. But this is a physical copy of it with a lot of extras. Now, on the back you've got one of those sticky cards. Again, this is a limited edition. It's a 200 box set, and I got 136. I got 139 of 200, and it's all kind of put together as a book, which is kind of cool. This kind of solid slipcover is going to look after the movie quite well. First off, you get Notes from the Tunnel, What Really Happened, which is a booklet by Umbrella talking about the process of making the movie and showing production stills and going through the story of how this very unusual movie was made and funded.
Whenever something's not spoken about, I've got to ask why. It's my job as a journalist.
The plan from the start was, when we got to the tunnels, was to get to the lake, because that's where the story was.
Okay, through here. Through there?
Yeah.
It's a bit tight down there, Tubby. You reckon you're going to make it?
Yeah, you can put extras on the disc and all that kind of thing, but sometimes you want to sit down with something physical and just read through it and understand the process for making a particular movie. So you get that, which is great. You get a whole bunch of stills from the movie, and I'm going to have to turn them around, on high quality cardboard. There's a very atmospheric one. Looks like a makeup test. That's very clearly filmed at maybe Central Station or one of the city loop stations in Sydney, the train stations which go underground. The movie's at another slipcase within that book-like slipcase. And the other thing that I like about this, another one of these reversible posters, which is a great addition that's Umbrella is doing. So there's one side of the poster. And on the back they've got another one, which I think's got some of the names of the people who crowdfunded it on the poster itself. There's the cover, but if you want to look at it, if you want to do a very plain and kind of creepy cover, they've got a reversible one, which looks like it's hand-drawn and is kind of a secret project kind of one. Do Not Air the Tunnel, filmed over 14 days in 2010, documenting, funded by 4,409 people. How could we let this happen? Property of Umbrella Entertainment. We have blood on our hands. So if you want to do a very sketchy cover for it, you can flip the cover and do it that way, which is very cool. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen this one, but I don't mind that because I am going to watch it. Found footage is one of those genres. By the way, this one's Region B. Found footage is one of those genres that I can take or leave, but I've seen a couple of found footage movies recently, which have made me start to reassess my approach on all found footage movies are pretty shit. And I think The Tunnel is going to be one of the ones that reinforces that opinion, that it depends on the filmmakers, it depends on the script, depends on the way the films are made, it depends on the acting as to whether found footage is good or not. Now, I think it's a little bit easy to dismiss a sub-genre like found footage out of hand, and I think that if I'm reviewing movies, which of course I am, I can't take that approach to things. I've got to evaluate each individual movie that I see within that certain umbrella boom of found footage on an individual basis. I think it's only fair that I do that to a film. And a little box set like The Tunnel is, well, thank you to Umbrella for sending it to me for a start, but it's also an opportunity for me to put aside some of the preconceptions and the prejudices that I have against certain kinds of movies and go into them and just test them and see them for what they are. Next one's controversial. The IP, the intellectual property it's based on, went into the public domain last year, and very, very quickly a director called Reese Frake Waterfield brought out a movie based on that intellectual property, and this is a beautiful package. It's packaged like a children's book. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And Umbrella have put it out in a premium edition. There's the back, it's region B, this one. So definitely, if you're able to, and you're inclined to, get a multi-region Blu-ray player, because you're going to be able to get things like this. And with exchange rates as they are, you're going to get them fairly cheaply if you're in North America. So there's the back, and it is done like a children's book. You can sit it on a shelf in a nursery, and nobody will be any the wiser. Winnie the Pooh, Honey is Thicker Than Blood, which is a children's book style telling of the story. Now, I won't go too far into that because, it gets a bit sanguine and may even go into spoilers. But I kind of like that. It's illustrated by Sean Wallace and written by Xavier Smith. A nice addition to this particular release. But there are a lot of them, a lot of lobby cards for this one too. There's Winnie the Pooh. There's Winnie the Pooh. Now, I don't expect great things from this movie. There's Piglet, 100 Acre Wood. I'm not going to show you all of these. But a lot of people have been disparaging the movie, saying it's a piece of shit and things like that. But for me, I kind of like what it does for a couple of reasons. First off, the intellectual property goes public domain, and at that stage, it's like the Le Mans 24-hour race. First person into the car, first person to go around the circuit wins. And this particular film went around the circuit, got its version of the story out there first before anyone, and they're obviously going to make money on it. I'm sure there are any number of people who will try to do cutesy versions of Winnie the Pooh, but you're playing in Disney's backyard if you do that, for the simple reason that at that very vanilla level of Winnie the Pooh, Disney has got that nailed down. But if you want to do something gory as hell and transgressive, and that's going to get some buzz and is going to cheese off any number of people who say you're ruining my childhood and all that kind of thing, and I probably should address that. Ruining your childhood? No, all the stuff from your childhood is still there. Buy that one. Ignore anything that, I'm not going to say triggers, but that upsets you, which is a mod iteration of something from your childhood. I watched the Banana Splits movie, which is a horror version of an intellectual property and the cartoon series, well, the live action series from the 1960s, which I love. I've got the Funko Pop figures of Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper and Snorky, and I love having them. And I love the original series. I've got the original series on DVD. The fact that somebody made a dark horror film in South Africa based on the Banana Splits doesn't worry me one tiny bit. I'm a big boy, I can handle it. And if somebody makes a movie about Winnie the Pooh, which is full of blood, gore, guts, and things that are better seen in an abattoir, why the hell not? I'm going to watch it and enjoy it. Middle-aged Geek Girl is an enormous Winnie the Pooh fan. She's got a room full of Winnie the Pooh stuff. And she's going to watch that with me. There's the back cover, which gives you a bit of an idea of the tone of it. It's an R-rated movie here in Australia, which means high-impact horror violence. So you know it's good. And again, there's a reversible cover so that you get the one that doesn't have the Australian rating on it if you want to flip the cover. And you also get the poster. Well, again, it's a quality poster. There's one side of it. There's the other. I'm going to watch it, and I think I'm going to enjoy it at the level it's meant to be enjoyed, because not every movie has to be either something from my childhood or something that's very mainstream and vanilla. I've got some kind of extreme tastes at times, and I'm embracing that, and I'm accepting the fact that a horror movie doesn't have to be good if it entertains me and if it's a bit of fun, and if it does come from an angle which is kind of unexpected. Nobody was thinking 5 years ago that we'd get a Winnie the Pooh gore film, and yet we have. But again, that's a nice package. That is lovely that they've put it out in the shape of a children's book, kind of rubbing the people's noses in the fact that they hate the fact that Winnie the Pooh is like this. Now, this one is, as I believe, sold out. I've got 72 of 670 copies of this. It's a collector's issue. But you can get the Blu-ray itself. Umbrella put together a good package. It's Ruined Childhood's custom written and illustrated Winnie the Pooh kids book. The special features on the disc are an audio commentary with director Rhys Frake Waterfield and cinematographer Vince Knight. Behind the scenes, bloopers, deleted scenes, Winnie the Pooh, Violins and Honey, fan art and a trailer. So you still get a pretty good package there if you buy the version that isn't the collector's edition that I have there. Which brings me to the last one. It's a Roku original movie that has now been put out on disc. The biopic of Weird Al Yankovic. Weird, with Daniel Radcliffe. Not sure where that guy came from, but he's very good now. And this is the 4K version. There is a Blu-ray version. There's a 4K version as well. You get 8 art cards. You get a story of Weird Al, 48-page book, limited number release, and a slipcase, which, of course, this is. This is a 500 limited edition 4K. There's the back. Now, I haven't seen this, but I have seen the trailer, and I have seen Weird Al live on stage down at the Palais here in Melbourne. Great gig. Really fantastic gig. Did all of the hits. Engaged with the audience wonderfully. He's been back recently and did another gig at the Palais as well, which my friends tell me was a lot of fun. So in this one, you get Getting Weird, the story of Weird, which is, again, lots of interesting stuff there. I'm not going to bend the cover too much, but yeah, the whole thing about this is it's a biopic which is a satire of musical entertainer biopics. So it does all the tropes of a musical entertainment biopic. Yeah, the kind of being a weird kid who has a dream, going from that dream to success, sex, drugs, alcohol, all that kind of stuff, and back again. All with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic. And even though Daniel Radcliffe is like about a metre shorter than Weird Al is in real life, he sells it and he's kind of making fun of things. Weird Al turns up as well. There's Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, who is basically his Yoko in this movie. Let's see what else we got. There's Radcliffe as Weird Al. You know, the attach really works on him. There he is again. The trailer basically sells this one. And there's Weird Al as a record producer. The real Weird Al. Madonna with Weird Al. There's Weird Al with his piano accordion. And there's Rainn Wilson playing Dr. Demento. Yeah, I mean, this is another one I got to watch with Middle Age Geek Girl because we haven't seen it yet. And of course, there's the actual disc itself. There's the 4K. Of course, 4K are not region locked. And I'm not sure whether they still have it for sale or not on the Umbrella website, but they definitely have the Blu-ray edition. There's the back of it. And of course, inside, you get the folded up poster. Double-sided, there's one of them. There's the other. This movie, because it's a piss take on biopics, which are usually hagiographies, like they treat the subject of the biopic like they're a little king god. And of course, you get that with the Freddie Mercury biopic that was out. You're getting that with upcoming biopics on Whitney Houston and other people where they're kind of very respectful and careful, and they avoid all of the horrible and not very nice aspects of the person's life. This one just kind of says, Weird Al doesn't particularly have anything transgressive in his real life, and so they made it up. And I like that. I like the fact that those very careful and very fan-servicey musician biopics, I like the fact that somebody has taken the piss out of those because they need it. They're obnoxious and horrible. They bend history in a way that reassures the fan base rather than gives them an honest appraisal of the particular person. This one, Weird, is a lot of fun. And the good thing is that if you are a Patreon supporter of this channel, I have a copy of the Blu-ray one. This is 59 of 170. There's only 170 of these Blu-ray ones in the world. And a Patreon supporter is going to win it. So I'm going to put up a little notation on the Patreon page for the Patreon supporters of this channel at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies. And one of them at the end of the month is going to be sent this by me. Now, again, this one is Region B. So be aware of that before you put up your hand on the Patreon page to get it. I'm going to do a random number generator off my Alexa, and whichever person's number comes up, they get this, and I will send it out to them. So thank you to Umbrella for giving me that one as well. And thanks to Umbrella for giving me all of their stuff. I love the way they're packaging things, even something like Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, which is not going to be to everyone's taste, and is not going to necessarily be the best horror movie since Psycho. Putting it together with a package like that and leaning into the controversy is a very smart move. And Middle-aged Geek Girl and I are going to watch it. We'll enjoy it at the level that we can. We're going to do that kind of phase shift in our perception to be able to enjoy a meathead silly movie. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do that with that one. We're going to do it with Weird. And I think sometimes you've got to change your headspace to embrace a breadth of cinema that isn't necessarily nice or polite or isn't within the accepted canon of a particular genre. And Umbrella is very good at stepping over that boundary and bringing us stuff that is weird and transgressive. I mean, I reviewed Martyrs, which is part of that French extremity horror genre, which Umbrella put out. In spite of the fact that some people may criticize them for it, they got the guts to stick to their guns and put out product which isn't just a safe bet. And I love them for that. So anyway, that's it for this time. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You can also support the channel by donating at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies. In a couple of days, all of you fans of 1970s movies, got two of them. I got some giant animal movies from the 1970s that I'm going to look at. I'm going to put that up before the weekend, and then I'm going to do Science Fiction Saturday for the weekend video as well. So you've got two more videos after this for the weekend. Until next time, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies, watch some intellectual properties that have just fallen into the public domain, and mad people are making movies about them. And I'll catch you next time.